good morning. I just noticed a familiar name on my live chat. Well, hello, Cherry. How are you? I did, excuse me, everyone. I did see you in Cardigan. Oh, it was in the summer, and I sort of chased down the street and I lost you. Anyway, how are we this morning? I hope you're feeling well. So I've got Sam with me. You may hear a little bit of banging and drilling in the background because we've got all sorts of things going on downstairs. There's plumbing and carpentry. So my apologies if your calm is disrupted. So it's not much of a day out there, is there? But hopefully you will be feeling tip-top at the end of this session. We always do our warm-up seated, and then we're going to do some standing exercises, a little bit of strength, a little bit of balance, and then we'll come back down to the chair for a little bit more strength. For the strength bits, we're going to be using some stretchy bands, some resistance bands now. For those of you who may not know, I have got a little stash of them. So if you want to join in this class and you don't have one, just get in touch with me. My email being sarah.tag, T-A-G-G, @ceredigion.gov.uk. And you can be the proud owner of a resistance band that is free. Okay, so bear that in mind. The other thing I'm probably going to use today is a couple of tins. I've got kidney beans, and we're just going to do a bit of bicep work. Don't rush off and get any if you haven't got any. We'll just use the band or just use your body weight. So how are you feeling? Are you well? I'm hoping you're well. If you're not feeling well, probably today's not the day for formal exercise. So don't forget, you can use this link and tune in another time. Sam's bored already, so should I get on with it? Okay. The other thing I've got is a drink, okay? So that if you need to take a little sip of a drink or at any time, you can do that. So most of us are at home. I think we're all at home anyway, so you should be able to get a drink quite easily. And this is the chair I'm going to be using. So it's like a dining chair. No arms if you can get away with it, but if you've only got a chair with arms, so be it. Just be careful of them so you don't smack your arms on it. And what we're going to do is just talk about our working position before we go any further. So generally when we sit in our chair, we sit like this, don't we? So what I want you to think about is using this as almost like a gym equipment type thing. So we're going to think about just sitting up nice and tall and then lifting one sitting bone at a time till we're slightly forwards in that chair. So ideally we're using these deep muscles that support the spine to keep you nice and tall. So it's your abdominals, your back muscle, rather than just letting them relax and letting the chair do the work. So it's a really nice thing to get into the habit of doing, even if you don't do it all the time, just practicing for a few minutes every day, and it will help strengthen your core muscles. So I'm going to turn this chair, I'm going to turn it ever so slightly that way so you can see a little bit better. Let's all get into our working position now, shall we? And then let's think about sitting really nice and tall. I am going to face you, actually. No good like that. And then we're going to think about starting with just nice, easy neck and shoulder exercises. So we're going to start with a little shoulder squeeze up to the ears, and then we're going to relax those shoulders back down. Okay, so we're going to squeeze those shoulders up to the ears, and then we're going to really relax those shoulders down. So if I turn this way, I'm looking straight ahead, and I'm just making sure I try and breathe out. I do find it helps to breathe out as you let those shoulders go. So it's almost like a tension release. There's a lot of tension everywhere at the moment, isn't there? So let's do everything we can just to breathe out, release that tension in the shoulders. Now we're going to think about dropping your chin down to your chest now. So I'm going to turn just so you can see what we're doing. Shoulders are relaxed, we've got that chest open, and we're gently dropping that chin down towards the chest. Then we're going to lift that head, we're going to look straight ahead. And again, so gently dropping that chin down towards the chest, lifting that head, looking straight ahead. Let's do that one more time. So gently dropping that chin down to the chest, and then we're going to look up, take a roll of those shoulders and just relax the shoulders. Then we're going to look this way. So we're going to turn very gently with the head to that right, and then back to center. So try not to force the head to go any further than you're comfortable with, okay? Good. I'm looking at, when I look that way, I looked out the window and saw the wind and the rain. So I'm going to look this way now, okay? Let's pretend it's not happening. Good. And imagine you're drawing a horizontal line with that nose. Good. Only as far as you feel comfortable. Then we're going to come back to center. Take a little roll of those shoulders again, up to the ears and back down. So we're getting a nice bit of movement in those shoulders. Now, what we're going to do next is we're going to take this hand, your left hand, just onto that right thigh, and then we're going to come back to center. And we're going to take that other side to that thigh. I've already forgotten lefts and rights. Good. So we're getting a little bit of rotation at that waist, okay? A little bit of rotation. What you can do is sit nice and tall, draw that tummy button gently away from the waistband of the trousers. We're going to take one more either side, okay? And this just limits that range a little bit. And then we're going to bring those hands down onto the thigh, and we're going to take a little walk on the spot. So if I show you what I'm doing here, I'm not really lifting my legs up. I'm just gently lifting the balls of the feet off the floor and then placing them back down, because these hip flexors get a bit tight when we're sitting, and it can get really challenging if we start to pick those knees up too high. So this is all about a little bit of circulation boost. We're getting that blood flowing through the legs. If we add the arms a little bit, we can get the blood flowing through the arms and the rest of the body too. So we're going to go 4, 3, 2, and 1. Brilliant work, friends. Now, let's think now about, what are we thinking? Yes, I know, lower back. So we're going to take the arms out to the side. Now, I'm going to walk my feet out a little bit wider to give me that stability. I'm going to draw this tummy button away from the waistband of my trousers, and then keeping both sitting bones on the chair, I'm just going to lift this rib cage up and over, okay? So again, it's the back, it's the spine. So we don't want to force the movement. So if you take your mind into that lower back, and as soon as you think, oh, that's my point of tension, just gently come all the way back up. So this is something you can do before getting out of bed in the morning. If you do get a very stiff lower back, it's a really nice way of getting moving. I tend to put the kettle on in the morning, and I do a few of these while I'm waiting for it to boil, and I find it makes a real difference. Now, with these feet slightly wider again, what we're going to do this time is take those hands underneath the chest. Now, see if you can roll those shoulders, slide those shoulder blades down that back. See if you can tuck them into the back pocket of your trousers, and then just gently, gently turn in one way. So while we're doing this, those knees are facing forwards. So this is, again, more mobility for that back, but it's that rotational ability. So if you like to put the seatbelt on, okay, it's the sort of movement that's going to help with that. So should we all try and just take those hands, imagine you're putting the seatbelt on. So you're the driver, okay, and then I'm going to change sides. You're going to be the passenger, okay, brilliant. So we're going to reach over that shoulder, plug that seatbelt in. Brilliant. So this is beautiful rotation of that spine. And then we're going to come back, bring those feet back to hip width apart, and we're going to take some little toe taps forwards. I have not messed around with this camera angle enough, so I'm just going to take some toe taps forwards. That's good. So how are we feeling? There's no answer. That's the trouble with YouTube, isn't it? We did these classes on Zoom for a little bit, and it was lovely because we could have that two-way interaction. So I'm going to imagine what your response might be, and I'm hoping it's okay. If at this point you're thinking, I don't know, then sometimes it's best to maybe turn it off and come back to it another day. Now, let's see if we can take some heel taps in front. And we're just going to lengthen that leg out a little bit more, tapping that heel forwards. So you can see we're getting a nice little warm up for the legs, the knee joint. And what we're doing is also warming up these calves and these ankles. So what we're going to do now is just take that little pedal. So if I show you from this angle, one heel at a time, and then we're going to see if we can lift both heels up and down. So we're going to go up and down. Good. Up and down. 2 more. And then we're going to see if we can lift the toes off the floor and keep the heels down. Oh, this is where I really struggle. So I'm really trying hard. I'm trying hard face. And we're going to do 2 more. 1 and 2. Bring it back down. And then we're going to walk it out. Good stuff. So I'm hoping you're starting to feel a little bit warmer, a little bit brighter, a little bit looser maybe. What we want to do now is get these arms and the upper body a little bit more movement before we move into our standing section. So what we're going to do is we're just going to take these hands here and we're going to push away. So as if we were doing a press up or just pushing something, putting something away, pushing a drawer shut, we're just going to push away. And we're going to just do 2 more. And then we're going to imagine that we're rowing a boat. So we're going to squeeze those elbows behind us. We're going to look straight ahead and we're just going to squeeze those elbows behind us. Squeeze. So this is all about the upper back, warming up the shoulders and the back muscles. Good. And then we're going to relax those arms down. Now let's see if we can float those arms just to shoulder level. So there, bring it down. So we're going to come here and down. Good. We're going to come up. Now, this time we're going to push those arms behind us. We're going to come up to shoulder level, push those arms behind us. Good. We're going to do 2 more. And we're going to take 1 more. If you were stood in front of a wall, just imagine you're sliding these hands up and then down a wall. Sliding these hands up the wall and then just sliding that hand back down. So we're just going to go a little bit further each time. That's it. That's brilliant, guys. Just not overreaching. So if that's your maximum, that's fine. It's all about working to your limits, not to anyone. And good. And again, let's do 2 more. Good. Reaching up. And 1 more time. Breathing out. And then as we breathe in, we're going to bring these hands down. We're going to see if we can hold onto the back of the chair. So I'm going to show you from a different angle. Okay, when we're holding onto the back of the chair, we get a really nice little stretch of these chest muscles. Good. And then we're just going to roll these shoulders as we release. We're going to take 1 foot in front of you and place that heel on the floor. Now, this is going to give you a little stretch for the back of the thigh and the calf muscles. Now, if we want to increase that stretch, we're going to keep that long back and just gently, gently lift that chest towards the straight leg. And then we're going to come all the way up. We're going to change legs. Let's just move those feet a little bit. So heel down, toe up to the ceiling. I realise I'm in the darkest spot for you to see this. I do apologise. And then bring it up. And we're going to go back to that little walk on the spot. 1 arm at a time. Legs. And with these elbows, we sort of want a 90-degree bend. Otherwise, you sort of end. 2, 1. Okay. I'm going to bring my chair back so you can see me. Let's do a little bit more ankle mobility before we get standing. So what I'm going to get us to do is take a heel and then a toe to the same spot on the carpet. Heel and toe. Heel and toe. Good. Heel and toe. So we're really pushing that big toe down and then drawing it upwards. And then we're going to change legs. Okay, so heel and toe. See if you can find the same spot on the carpet. Heel and toe. Heel and toe. Good. Last 2. Last 1. Great stuff, friends. Now, take a little roll of those shoulders. Let's see if we can walk 1 hand over that shoulder. Reach down that back. Give yourself a nice pat on the back. And then we're going to release. Good. Take a roll of those shoulders. And then we're going to do the same on the other side. Good stuff. Reach down that back and then release. All right. So the next section, we've warmed up. So we're going to try and work on our balance, our aerobic fitness, and we're going to see if we can work on a bit of standing strength. Now, we can do all these exercises seated if perhaps today you're not feeling that you can stand. So if you're going to be seated, everything we do, okay, side steps, little taps diagonally, we can do these seated. Now, what I'm going to get you to do is just walk those feet out a little bit wider, and we're just going to practice taking your weight into this sitting bone, taking your weight into this. So this is our wide base sway, and we're going to be doing this standing, and this is how we're going to do it sitting. So we're keeping both sitting bones on the chair, and we're just transferring weight from one sitting bone to the next, but don't lift the opposite sitting bone up. Now, if you feel comfortable, we can bring some arm movement in. Okay, we can keep that movement small. We can keep it a little bit bigger. Okay, we're going to go 3 and 2 and 1. Lovely. Bring it down. Okay, now when we're seated and we're practicing some balance moves, I am going to get you to do exactly what we're doing, but when you lift your foot off the floor, it's going to be slightly less. So you're going to take it maybe half an inch, and we're still having to use these core muscles. Any more than that, and you start to use the leg muscles rather than these core muscles that help with balance. So that's how we're going to do this class seated. If you're ready to stand up, we're going to think about that working position. So we need to be in that position, and if those feet tend to be slightly in front of you, try and bring them under the knees, even slightly behind, to help propel you upwards, okay? So if you can, let's practice 5 little hovers. So with these heels underneath the knees, with that chest nice and long, now you can use those arms to help you. You can just push, control it back down. So push into those heels, use these bottom muscles, push and control it back down. Now, if you're feeling confident, you might feel comfortable going a little bit further. Okay, push, brilliant. Okay, you may just stick with that. Okay, now, I keep saying okay, I'm going to stop doing it. Just have a little rest there a minute, move those feet. Some of you may find you're not moving off the chair at all. Do not be afeared. You can, when we stand up, take the hands here, just underneath those thighs to the front of the chair to give yourself a little push. Even just this, you can feel the thigh muscles working. So we're going to do 3 more of those little hovers, just in case you didn't get the maximum out of them last time. So no matter where you're going with them, hover, and we're going to slowly lower down. Hover, slowly lower down. 1 more if you can. Slowly, I sort of almost fell back down there. And then we're just going to move the feet. Good. So you can practice that sort of movement at home, you know, every other day if you like, more than that. But make sure you get a couple of rest days to give these muscles a chance to strengthen and build. If you're worried about falling back down, put your chair against the wall, okay? Right, when you're ready now, have a little rest with me talking. We're going to stand up and move to the back of our chair. So decide which way you're going to move before you stand up. Once we stood up, make sure you just gently move the feet so we don't get dizzy. Take as many steps as you need. So when you're ready, friends, let's go 3, 2, 1. We're going to power up. Move those feet as soon as you're up, and this just helps stop you getting dizzy. Now I'm going to move this way, so I'm going to take as many steps as I need. I'm going to stand as tall as I can, rely on my feet, but I can hold onto that chair as soon as I'm in position. Okay, so here I am. I've got my hands on my chair and I'm walking on the spot. So I'm just going to take my band out of my way. So I'm taking a little bit of a walk on the spot. So this can be your go-to if things get too much, just walking on the spot. The alternative is that little pedal. Do you remember we did that in a seated position? So looking straight ahead, little pedal. So if anything gets too much, just wiggle your toes, do a little pedal, or gently walk on the spot till you're ready for the next one. Now I'm hoping that you're looking at me like this. Okay, now you can't see me, so I'm going to move this chair to the side. And I'm going to pretend I've got it there. So we're walking on the spot. Now we're going to steady these feet. And we're going to start with this left leg. We're going to take a little tap to the outside of that chair leg. We're going to bring it in. We're going to do the same on the other side. Tap and in. So we're going to tap and in and tap and in. That's it. Tap and in and tap and in. So while we're tapping, We've got this really nice long trunk, shoulders relaxed. Now, we might be holding onto the chair with both hands, but if we are, try not to lean over it like this if you can. So see if we can start to really use these core muscles. This is where sitting up nice and tall in the chair really prepares you for being out and about. Now, you might feel comfortable letting go with one hand. You might feel comfortable leaving go with both hands, but you know you've got that chair just in case. And we tend to slow things down just a little bit to challenge your balance. Good. We're just going to do 2 more. And 1, we're going to bring it in. Now, let's think about just lifting these knees up a little bit higher. You'll have to be careful of this chair. All right, so some of you may find it easier to turn to the side, as if you've got your foot stuck on the floor. We used to talk about a nightclub I used to frequent in my hometown of Abergavenny, the Chevron, or the Shed as it was fondly known. And if you wanted to get to the dance floor, you literally had to do this across the carpet to get there. It was that sticky. So let's all imagine circa 1989 in the Chevron, Abergavenny, trying to get to the dance floor, okay? Really pulling those feet off the floor, lifting those knees a bit higher. Good. All right, so you'll be feeling the hip flexors now. So what we're going to do next is we're just going to take some little taps behind us. So we've got that chair for balance if you need it, and we're going to take some little taps behind us, and this is just going to open out the hip flexors a little bit. Good. So we're going to go for 8 of these, just little taps behind. You've got that chair. Now, you might feel comfortable letting go and adding little bicep curl, but don't worry, you might hold on with one hand, and then we're going to bring these feet back in. The next thing we're going to try and do, just take those feet a little bit wider. We're going to gently bend those knees and lift those heels behind you. Good. Okay, I like to do this. I like to get the hamstrings working. Now, some of us, our knees may be really stiff, so you may just end up taking a little tap behind us. Okay, try not to over-exaggerate. Keep those knees pointing down to the floor. We're going to do 4, 3, 2, and 1. Whew, good work. So this is what we call a recovery walk. So we're just gently moving the feet, or we're going to take that little one heel at a time. So are you ready to do those movements again? Yes, yes. I can hear the crowd roaring. Good. Remember, you can walk it out at any time. Keep an eye on that breathing. So make sure you're not breathing too hard, too fast. We want this under control. So we're going to start with a bit of a walk on the spot. So nice, light on your feet, standing tall. You've got that chair if you need it. You can hold on with one hand. You can hold on with both hands. Now, we're going to take this little march. We're walking across this lovely path. There's daffodils out, snowdrops. Don't look out the window. You won't believe me. But like yesterday was like this. Snowdrops and daffodils everywhere. Okay, so we're having a lovely stroll. We're going to go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now, steady those feet. So now we're going to stop on our walk and we're going to take some little toe taps. Now, if you're feeling particularly frisky on this walk, we might add a bicep curl. So we're taking those little toe taps to the outside of that chair. Good. We're going to just see if we can either do just arms and legs or just legs, depending on how we're feeling. Good. We're going to go 4 and 3 and 2 and 1. Now, we're going across that sticky field now. We've left the Chevron in Abergavenny and we're walking across that field of sticky mud. So we're just picking those knees up. Just be careful you don't bang that chair. Try and keep that nice strong trunk. Just picking those knees up. Brilliant. You're looking really good. Really good, guys. So this is going to really help strengthen your hip flexors. So going up and down stairs will be easier, up and down steps. And then we're going to bring it down. Now, do you remember what came next? Little taps behind us. So we want to keep that strong trunk. You can hold onto that chair. We're going to tap behind you. Looking straight ahead. Excellent. Now, if you're feeling like working a little bit harder, we can push these hands away from you. That's it. You can push these hands, or we can just hold onto the chair. We're going to do 5 and 4. Good. That's brilliant, my friends. And then bring it back in. Bring it back in. This is a very gentle toe wiggle recovery. And then we're going to finish with those little picking those heels up. So use that chair if you need it. Excellent. Now, if you feel confident, we can just push one arm or both arms behind you, just like we did in that warm up in the chair. We're going to go 4, 3, 2, and 1. Okay, brilliant. Now that was designed to challenge your breathing a little bit. Just a few minutes of aerobic activity to make the heart and lungs more efficient, to give you more stamina when you're doing day-to-day activities. We're going to move on to working on your balance. So we're going to think about just moving the feet a little bit, because if that heart's still beating a little bit faster, it means there's a greater volume of blood coming through the body. And if we just stop, sometimes it can't get back up to the head and we feel a bit dizzy. So if you need to, just hold on to that chair a little bit, and remember you can sit down at any point. What we're going to try and do, if you can do this section standing, it is really useful. But again, don't let me stop you if you need to sit down. So we're going to see if we can hold onto this chair with both hands, and we're going to keep that chest lifted, okay? And we're going to make these core muscles work. Now, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to see if we can stand on one leg. So we're going to push that supporting leg down into the floor, and all we're going to do is lift your heel off the floor to start off with. We're going to lift the heel off the floor. And so you've got this toe just giving you a bit of stability. Now, if you feel comfortable, we're going to lift that toe off the floor. Now, we're going to hold this for a count of 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and bring it down and just move those feet. So how did you find that? Was that challenging? Let's try it on the other side. So we've got that chair for balance. All we're going to do is just take that heel off the floor. So if I show you from this angle, I've actually taken my foot back a little bit to help with balance. And then when you feel ready, we're going to just lift that foot off the floor. Now try and stay nice and tall. We've got another 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. I found that really challenging. I had to concentrate on just a really fixed point in it. I couldn't look at myself on the screen. And I did find that really challenging because we went into it slowly. Now, if you found that challenging and you need the 2 hands, hold on with 2 hands. If you're thinking, oh, I've got one foot off the floor and I'm okay, you might be able to take one hand away. You may even then, if you're not wobbling, be able to take one finger at a time and generally leave the index finger as the last finger. So should we try that static balance again? We'll just walk the feet out a little bit just to make sure we keep that blood circulating around the body. Now, let's see if we can do it. So I'm going to focus on a fixed point in the distance. I'm going to put that toe behind me, and then I'm going to draw my tummy button in just to really help those core muscles. Now, foot off the floor. Make sure we're breathing out, and only if you feel confident are you going to take one hand away. Only if you're confident and you're not wobbling are we going to take a finger off that supporting hand at a time. I'm going to have to leave my index finger there. I'm not feeling confident to take it away. And then we're going to bring it back. Good. Should we try it on the other side? Let's try it on the other side. I realized when I was doing this, I lifted my foot a long way off the floor. It doesn't have to be a long way off the floor. Sometimes I exaggerate. So as long as that foot's off the floor, balancing on the other leg, okay? So see if we can do it. See if you can lift that toe up. Good. Now imagine I put a hot cup of tea on top of your head, and we're trying not to let it slide off, okay? Really don't want it to slide off. 3, 2, 1. Brilliant. Okay, my friends. We're going to take just some sort of nice and steady side steps. We're stepping with the outside of that foot. So this is surprisingly challenging when we slow it down. So the slower we move, the more you're spending time almost transferring the weight from one leg to the other. So what we'll do is find a pace you feel comfortable with, and then we're going to slow it down a little bit. So don't forget you've got that chair in front of you. You might find these abdominal muscles having to draw in to support you, to stop you sort of doing that. Okay. All right. So bring these feet in. What we're going to do now is see if we can step to your left. Imagine you're stepping over something in the garden. Okay. Over it sideways. Good. And then we're going to step back over it. So it's like a little wall or a little rock. And you're going out to check on your crocuses that are popping through. And you've just got to step over that little wall. Good. And you're thinking, oh, I didn't used to notice this. All right. So hopefully we won't notice it again, but we're just taking care to step over that little. That's good. That's brilliant. So try not to bang those feet together as you come back. Should we do one more that way? Good. So if you've had sort of any hip issues or a hip replacement, you'll notice that the hips maybe aren't as strong or as mobile as they maybe once were. So it's a nice little exercise, but important not to overdo it. Great stuff. All right then. We've got this chair in front of us, so we're going to do some more balance on the move now. We're going to take a little step into that chair, and then we're going to come back. So I'll show you what it looks like here. We're just taking a step forwards and then pushing back to that start position. And we're going to do the same with the opposite leg. Forwards and back to that start position. So you know what I'm going to say. I know you do. I always talk about imagine you're stepping off the pavement. Some cars coming very fast, so we need to come back onto the pavement. So you step off the curb, and we're going to just take the weight into the middle of the foot, even into the back of the foot, and then we're going to push back up. So let's try the same on this side. So it can be a really small step, all right, particularly if our knees are sore. We're going to step off that curb and come back. Good. We're going to step. Now, if your knees are okay, if you're feeling balanced, you could take a little shuffle backwards and actually make that step a little bit bigger, okay? But make sure you feel comfortable that knee's bending in line with that second toe. Good. And we're just going to do 4 more. So we're stepping, you've got that chair. Now notice this trunk, it's nice and tall. We're not leaning over that chair. Step and back. That's excellent, my friends. Step and back. Good work. Good work indeed. Quite a lot of balance type work there. So what we're going to do is combine some balance and strength next. So we've got this chair. We're going to shuffle these feet quite close to the chair. And all we're going to do is with those feet hip width apart, we're going to lift the heels off the floor, pause for a second, and slowly lower down. So we've got calf strength. All right, really important when we're out and about and walking around. And then we've also got balance because we're going from a large foot surface area to just the balls of your feet. So what we can do is start to challenge your balance again. Lifting those heels off the floor, making sure we're breathing out. You might find you only need 1 finger. You might find you need 2 hands. So just find out what level of support you can do this without. Good. We're going to do about 10 of these in total, so we've got about 4 more. You may find you can take both hands by your side, but you've got that chair just in case. Lovely. Okay, is that our 10? This is where I miss the lovely Joan. In our face-to-face classes, I'd go, oh, I've lost count. And she'd go, 9. All right, then, just walk it out a little bit, my friends. You might find there's a bit of tension built in those shoulders. Let's just check. Oh, let's check the time. I don't want to overrun you. So we're going to just circle those shoulders and then bring it back down. Now, what we're going to try next is a powerful movement that will help if you need to get something off the floor. So if you did find yourself unexpectedly on the floor, or if you need to pick something up, what we're going to do is just show you a little movement. Now, we're only going to do one on each leg, all right? All I'm going to get you to do, don't do it yet. Just wait until you've seen what I'm going to do. We're just going to take a step behind. We're going to lower this knee, and then on this front leg, we're going to power up, okay? And then we're going to do the same on the other leg. So I'm going to show you again, and then we're going to do it together because we're just going to do one each. We're going to take a step behind as if you were picking something up, but keep that nice, strong trunk, and then we're going to come back up. If you're not comfortable with that, do not worry, okay? But I just want to build it in. So one on each leg. I'm going to show you in this angle. We're just dropping that knee, coming up, but keeping that strong trunk. So hold on to that chair. We're going to take that step behind, only as far as you think you can control. Power up through this leg. Good. We're going to do the same on the other side. So the power is through this front leg, push into that heel, come up. Lovely. That is all we're going to do. And I'll show you at the end the reason why we're doing it, okay? Now, take a little squeeze of these shoulders, take a little pedal, okay? And then we're going to see if we can bring ourselves to the front of our chair. Now, don't sit back yet. Don't sit back yet, okay? So just take as many steps as you feel comfortable coming to the front of that chair. Then we're going to feel for that chair on the back of your legs. And as long as you're nice and evenly placed, we're going to lower ourselves, but we're going to come back up. All right, now I'm going to change my chair angle. Stay where you are. This is going to be all about leg strength. Now, if this chair doesn't feel secure to you, what you can do is put it against that wall. But we're not actually going to be sitting down. What we're going to be doing is almost like a squat. So those of you who've been to classes before, but we're going to use the chair as our guide. So we're going to push your bottom to the back of the chair, and then we're going to straighten out those legs, come up. So you can feel that chair there, not so much that you're going to push it backwards, okay? So push your bottom to the back of the chair, only go as far as you feel comfortable, and then make sure you can control it back up. We're going to do 8 more. You happy with that? If you get to the point where you think, oh, no, I can't do another, slowly sit down and wait for us to finish. All right, then. So we're pushing that bottom so the heels are firmly on the floor. Squeeze that bottom on the way back up. Good. That's number 7. Squeeze this bottom. Keep this chest lifted. Good. Keep that chest lifted as we go to sit down. So imagine I'm in front of you and I'm about to pickpocket your wallet. So keep your eyes on me. Okay? And we got 4 more if you can. So we're going to go 4. Only as far as you feel you can control it back up. And see if you can make sure those knees bend in line with that second toe. We're going to go the last one now. We're going to hold it for 3, 2, 1. Then slowly lower yourself into that chair. Round of applause for you all. Well done. That's good. So those stand to sits, as I call them, and of course you've got the opposite that we did earlier, the sit to stand. They are designed to strengthen these legs. So obviously the things that they're going to help you with are getting in and out of chairs, but going up and down steps, in and out of cars. So lots and lots of daily functions that actually we sort of, lots of us are starting to lose a little bit without doing more of them because we're in so much. So well done there. Now, if you've got your stretchy band, we're going to get hold of that stretchy band and give your legs a little bit of a rest. So we're going to take the band over the palms of the hands and we're going to do some work for this upper back. And then we're going to do the lower back, okay? Right, so I'm going to turn my chair this way so you've got a bit of the best of both worlds. And I'm going to make sure I get into my working position before we do anything else. So let's come back to these core muscles because they're going to help you when you're standing up, help you when you're walking, help you doing everything. Now, with those palms facing upwards, what we're going to do is just create a little bit of tension and then we're going to release. Slide those shoulders away from the ears. Create a little bit of tension and then release. Good. Now slide, relax those shoulders. See if you can open this chest. Now, as you create the tension, make sure these elbows aren't doing that, okay? So keep those elbows in. Brilliant. Now this time, once we created that tension, we're going to squeeze those elbows behind us. Remember that rowing action? So it's like rowing a boat, but just keeping those palms facing upwards. Squeeze and release. Should we do another 8? Come on, let's do it. Now don't forget to breathe out. Excellent. Draw those shoulder blades together. Keep that nice long back. Now if it gets too much, just take the band out or just take your hands a little bit wider on the band so that there's not so much tension. Good. I think we got 3 more and 2. Keep breathing out, guys. Release that tension, then create it again and release. Oh, my back. So what we can do, oh, that's my youngest. Yeah. Did you hear what he was saying? Let's go. Ladies and gentlemen, I think you'll find, let's go. So all we need is Billy coming to give you a pep talk. Now, what was I? I've gone. If you want the tension to be a little bit more, you can bring your hands closer to the middle of the band. If that's too much, just take it a little bit wider. Okay, so within the light, medium, heavy resistance, you can really play around with it. Now, the next thing we're going to do, we're going to just let that band rest over the thighs because this is the movement we're going to try and do. Feet underneath the knees. We're going to lift this chest gently over the thighs and peep at your toes. And then we're just going to gently walk these hands back up the thighs and come back to that sitting position. So draw that tummy button in as if you're doing up a tight pair of trousers. Lift that chest, peep at those toes. And then we're just going to help those back muscles bring you back up. Now, this is all about strengthening the lower back muscles here. So as we come forwards, it's actually quite a pleasant stretch. But as we come up, we're contracting the back muscles, making them work. So let's add some resistance. We're going to take either end of the band and we're going to lower it down and place both feet in it. So remembering where we're working, it's the back. We're going to lift that chest over those thighs and walk these hands down the band. Now, I want you to relax your shoulders. Imagine you've got headlights on the front of those shoulders and the lights are shining at the knees. Then we're going to lift the chest so the lights on your shoulders are shining straight ahead. And then you're just going to gently let that band lift that chest. And again, so you notice we're not pulling with the arms. It's all about lifting the chest, not the arms. Good. So make sure you breathe out and we're going to do 10 of these again. Now, if you can control this movement forwards, you'll actually find you're using your tummy muscles as well because they're not just twanging back in. So you're actually using those tummy muscles with control. Good. Relax the head. Relax that neck. Breathe out. And breathe in. Good. I think we got 4 more of these. So if we can strengthen those back muscles, you will find standing up, particularly if you're standing still, you know, if you're cooking or waiting in a queue, you'll find that a lot easier. Brilliant. Particularly if you get a sore lower back, if you're walking or standing. Good. Last one if we can, my friends. Let's sit up nice and tall. Ooh. And then we're going to come forwards, release the band. Now I'm going to take 1 foot out of it because we're going to come back to that leg strength. Okay, so I'm going to turn and face you. We got one foot into that band. So I've got, the mid part of my foot there. We're going to walk the hands down that band. Now, I'm in my working position. So I've got a bit of tension when I sit back up. What I'm going to do is let this foot come off the floor. I'm going to lift it with the band about an inch. And then I'm going to secure my hands at the top of my thighs. So I'm going to push my knuckles in and relax the shoulders. Now, all we're going to do is push against the resistance of that band and straighten out that leg. And then we're going to let the knee bend over that second toe as we come back. So we're going to push against the resistance of that band and then control it back. Now, as you push away, try not to lock out those knees. So we're lengthening without sort of snapping it shut. Good. Sitting nice and tall, looking straight ahead. Who's holding their breath? Me. Good. So we've got 5 more. We're going to go 5. So you can feel the thigh muscles really working with this one. I love this exercise. So particularly if you get issues with your ankles, knees, or hips, it means you can strengthen those leg muscles to help you do everyday activities without, the impact of being in a stood up position. We got 1 more here. Now we're going to hold it there for 3, for 2, for 1, and then we're going to release. Good. So loosen up that band, take that foot out, and we'll put the other foot in this time. So if you do one side, ideally we want to do the other side. We want balance with our workout. Ooh, good. So we're going to sit up nice and tall, lift that foot. You can use the band to help you. It doesn't have to be a long way. And then we're just going to try and relax the shoulders so you can really rest those hands, those knuckles in the top of the thigh. Now again, let's just straighten out that leg. And as you bend that knee, just make sure it's bending over that second toe or the big toe. I used to find I was bending it sort of slightly one way. And I wonder why my knees used to hurt after doing it. So keep that knee in alignment. Brilliant. And then we're just going to breathe out, lengthen, but without locking. So you know what I mean by lock. It's like when you snap the knee joint to its sort of full extension. We want to control it with the muscles rather than snapping that knee. Good. So we got 4 more. Breathe out, relax those shoulders, sit up nice and tall. 3. Good. Now the slower you control this back, it becomes almost so hard. That's good. Okay, keep it. Last one, guys. Now hold it there for 3, for 2, for 1, and then release. Whew. Whew. Indeed is what I say. Brilliant work. Now, let's have a look at the time. Okay, have we got time for 2 more? Yay! Good work. Okay, so what we're going to do now, we're going to do a little bit of upper body strength. We did the back muscles, but, we're all using this movement all the time. So let's bring this band around to our back. Let's think about working the chest muscles. So if you haven't got a band, you can do this with your tins. All right, you can push away. You could use the wall, but when you're standing up, make sure you move those feet so we don't get dizzy. Okay, so if you've got this band, we're going to bring it around to your back. Now I'm just going to show you how you hold it. That band is going to cross the palm so you can keep this strong wrist, so we're not working like that. Okay, so nice flat wrist. And then we're going to see if we can just push away and control it back. That control back's really important, okay? All right, are you ready for 10? Relax the shoulders. Okay, 10. Now, as you come back, you might think, oh, I'm never going to be able to do 10 of those. Take your hands closer to the end of the band. 9. If you're thinking, oh, that's really easy, bring those hands a bit closer to the middle. 8. Good. Try not to lift those shoulders up to the ears. Breathe out. Keep sitting nice and tall. Good. That's fantastic, guys. We're going to go 4. Breathe out. And 3. Good. And 2. Slowly back. Last one. Hold it there for 3. Come in a little bit for 2. Little bit for 1. And release. Roll those shoulders up and back. Brilliant work. Good stuff. Okay. So what we're going to do now, we're going to see if we can just do a little bit of strength for these wrists. And I find this really useful. So we're going to fold the band in half again. Now, if you haven't got a band and you've got a tea towel or something like that to hand, you can use a towel. Because what we're going to do is we're just going to fold it up and we're going to take one hand over the other. So those palms are facing me, my elbows are out. And imagine you're just wringing a dishcloth. Okay, so if I was using the towel, okay, this is what I'd be doing. And what we're doing is just strengthening those wrists. So the elbows are out and we're just squeezing, drawing the elbows in. Squeezing, good. Now we're going to do 5 to 8 of these. And then what I'm going to do is just change my position of my hand. So my elbows are in and I'm going to squeeze the other way. Okay, I never explain this very well, but I'm squeezing elbows in to out. Good. Elbows in to out. So obviously you've got your towel. Ooh, sorry, Sam. Just hit the dog. Okay, elbows out. Brilliant. He's okay, just so you know. And elbows in. Squeeze it out. So what I found this really useful for is opening jars and bottles, but particularly jars. They seem to really put them on tightly these days. And what we don't want is to sort of be hurting our wrists when we're doing it. Okay, relax. Relax, my friends. And you can shake that band out. I did mention about using the tins. If you've got some tins there, great. If not, don't worry about it. Okay. But if you have, and you're noticing that your arms maybe aren't as strong as you feel, this is just something you could do again. You know, before you open them to cook your dinner, just literally sitting nice and tall and bringing those wrists up and then slowly down. So if you've got light weights, you can use those. And this is really good for, you know, picking up shopping, carrying shopping, that type of thing. So if you haven't got them, just sit in that working position and just imagine that you're just squeezing. There's some tension there, squeeze up and slowly down. You can use the band for this as well. Good, but you have to use it separately. So I'm going to show you that next week. Breathe out. Slowly back down. And if you're starting to get stronger, you could use water bottles and just start to fill them a little bit more, but just make sure you don't grip too tightly so you sort of get very tense. Okay, I'm going to put them back and have a little sit back in that chair. Oh, take a little roll of the shoulders. We have done the main section, so well done. There was a lot going on in that session. So make sure when we finish now, you have a drink and just see how you're doing, because we've worked pretty much every muscle in your body. Nice and controlled. So we're going to cool down. So the one thing we're going to do is just take some little steps side to side. So what we don't want to do is just stop, because we've been working these muscles. We want to flush out any toxins that might have built up. And so you get a little muscle soreness as possible. So what we're going to do next is just take a little tap forwards and back. And then we're just going to bring these feet in and we're going to just push those arms out. So this time there's no resistance there. We're going to push one hand up and we're going to push the other hand. Just slide it up and down that imaginary wall. Good. And then we're going to think about just rolling these shoulders. We're going to draw a little circle with this elbow. We're going to draw a little circle with this elbow. And then we're going to walk these feet out so they're a little bit wider. Good. Now we're going to do this little stretch for the shoulders and the back of the arm. We're going to take one hand onto the same shoulder. We're going to walk this hand over the shoulder. Gently press that elbow towards the ceiling and breathe out. So we're keeping this chest lifted. Now this might be your point of tension. That's okay. Don't think it has to look exactly like mine. Now we're going to breathe in. We're going to reach up to the ceiling. Just hold on to this chair here and gently lift this rib cage as we breathe out. Keep both sitting bones on the chair. Come back and down, and then we'll just shake those arms out. Good. Wiggle those toes, wiggle those heels. And then we'll do the same on the other side. So walking that hand over the shoulder, gently pushing that elbow to the ceiling. Brilliant work, guys. Okay, now we're going to breathe in. We're going to breathe out. Don't forget, keep this sitting bone on the chair, okay? That's good. And bring it down. So that's a really nice stretch for those back muscles. Then we're going to see, I'm going to walk this way. We're just going to imagine you're hugging a big beach ball. And you're going to let that chin drop over the beach ball, and then we're going to just gently bring those fingers together. And then we're going to see if we can gently push those hands away from you so that the beach ball falls out. And then we're going to bring those hands back, and we're going to see if we can bring them behind you to hold onto the back of that chair. So we're then holding onto the back of the chair, opening out this chest and getting that lovely stretch for the chest. We can draw those shoulders together. Now keep an eye on this chin. Draw that chin to the back of the neck. And then release. And then we'll shake it out. Shake it out. Let's shake these legs out. Let's shake these arms out. Brilliant. I'm going to move my chair this way a little bit. So we're going to just gently, gently move those feet. And then we're going to take one foot in front of you. We're going to relax that foot down to the floor to start off with. And then we're going to draw this toe up to the ceiling. Then we're going to just gently, gently lift that chest towards the straight leg. What we do is just breathe out. Sweep that hand towards that toe. Bring it in. And then we're going to come all the way up. Nice and easy does it. Bring it back. So let's do the same on this side. So we've got that foot out. We're sitting nice and tall. We're going to place that heel down, draw that toe up to the ceiling. And then as if you were a hinge, so we're keeping that back nice and long. We're just gently, gently lifting that chest to the straight leg. When you feel that point of tension, just hold it there. And then we're going to breathe out, breathe in, bring it back, and slowly come up. Good work, good work. Okay, let's just take that little roll of the shoulders again. We're going to think about gently, gently walking backwards in this chair. You're going to breathe out, breathe in. We generally breathe in without trying. Well, I hope we are anyway. We have got 2 minutes before the hour. Sometimes I try and make this session a bit shorter. And I never want to leave anything out because I think it's all so valuable. So forgive me if you're feeling like we've done too much. If you do feel like that, do get in touch with me. Remember that email address, okay? Now we're going to relax. We're going to breathe out. And we're going to think about just breathing in to the base of these lungs. So I sometimes talk about exploring that lung space, almost breathing down into that belly button. And then as we breathe out, we're going to breathe out all that air. Now, if you prefer to sit up a little bit, you can. But as we breathe in down to that belly button, we're going to try and breathe in through the nose. But it doesn't matter if you breathe in through the mouth. And we're going to try and breathe out through that mouth. We're going to relax the head. We're going to relax the neck. We're going to focus on that slow breath out. And as we breathe in, we're going to count 1, 2. But as we breathe out, we're going to count 1, 2, 3. Breathing in. And breathing out. And then you can relax those hands, relax those shoulders, relax those feet, although I'm now doing a little jiggle just to wake myself up. Sometimes with that lovely breathing, I can feel my eyelids sort of start to go a little bit. I'm going to stand up, but don't feel you have to. Remember, when you do, though, move those feet a little bit. just helps stop you feeling dizzy. Great session, my friends. Now, I know some of you are going to be joining us on a different day and time, so it'll be recorded. So I hope you've enjoyed it. For those of you who've been live with us, thank you as well. It's been amazing to spend some time with you. Any problems, any queries, anything you'd like to do it more or less of, something you want to do in your own time, do get in touch with me. I'm always thrilled to hear from you. Otherwise, make sure you have a drink, enjoy your lunch, and don't forget, Thursday's going to be sunny, and Friday, and Saturday and Sunday too. Bye-bye.